The year is 1812, and now would be a good time to check up on Europe. Okay, what could have possibly happened here? Okay, so in the middle of all that chaos, the Russo-Turkish War was happening in between that. By the way, I'm talking about the Russo-Turk War from 1806 to 1812, so don't get confused with the 11 other Russo-Turkish Wars. Anyways, Russia wins and the Treaty of Bucharest is signed, and yeah, alright, cut the crap. That's not what I came here to talk about, because what I want to talk about is what happens after. Because this is where the story of Guts of Blackpowder starts to manifest. Because it is here where a bunch of Russian soldiers get infected with a relatively unknown virus called the Blight. Well, it seems you have contracted some type of unknown virus, and with that, you should probably... Hey, everyone! Napoleon and his French armies are invading Russia. Quick, get every soldier to Russia to defend the motherland. I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, what's the worst that could possibly happen? And then, for now, history remains the same. Napoleon captures Moscow, winter comes, a bunch of his soldiers freezes to death, and now Napoleon is forced to retreat out of Russia in the midst of the cold winter. Except there's another problem. You see, the infected Russian troops who came back to defend Russia accidentally infected civilians all across Russia. And this virus isn't just your average flu. Because the Blight turns you into a zombie, and due to how many people died in Napoleon's campaign of Russia, massive hordes of zombies are created. Or, in other words, just another day in San Francisco. One of these first encounters that the French army has with the Blight is at the Berezina River, where a trigger-happy fool accidentally blows up the bridge before everyone has crossed, leaving the 11th Corps on the other side of the Berezina River as they get picked off by zombies. Well, alright, Private, what's the weather report? Well, it says here, sir, that it is negative 25 degrees Celsius. Well, it can't get much worse than that. And someone blew up the only bridge across the Berezina River. Well, it can't get much worse than that. And the Russians are still attacking us. Well, it can't get much worse than that. And a bunch of man-eating zombies infected with some type of virus are also killing us. Well, how could it possibly get any worse than that? Stop saying that. Despite the overwhelming odds, they manage to quickly rebuild the bridge, and the survivors make a quick escape before they get overrun by the hordes of zombies. Another incident takes place at Vardo, Norway, where the British accidentally lose a tugboat carrying infected individuals that crashes on the island of Vardoya. But I mean, it's not like it will cause a massive outbreak and kill a bunch of people. Oh, would you look at that? A massive outbreak takes place on the island and it's killing everyone. The British on board the HMS Undaunted decide to send a boat with 15 men on board to investigate the wreckage. However, this goes south as only 4 men came back, only being able to confirm the deaths of 3 men. The British decide to stay near the island just in case that the other 8 unaccounted men are still alive and attempt to escape. Meanwhile, Danish troops at a nearby fortress decide to take shelter in the fortress to hide from the hordes of zombies. However, this doesn't really work too effectively as they start becoming medium rare steaks for the zombies. So they decide to leave and head out to the church to alert any nearby ships to come to the docks. I told you, this is a waste of time. Let's get out of here, my tea is getting cold. No, you nitwit, we have to at least try and attempt to see if anyone's still alive. They're all obviously dead. Why should we still be here in the middle of bumfuck nowhere? How dense are you? Are you willing to leave 8 people behind just for your tea? Yeah. Wow. Just wow. When we get back to... Hey, what's that noise? Are those church bells? Quick, head for the docks! After the Danish ring the bells, They get a signal from the HMS Undaunted and promptly make it to the docks, where they turn on the lights of a lighthouse. But they are followed by the zombies, and just when the Danish are about to be overrun, the HMS Undaunted arrives and rescues the Danish survivors. Ah, see, look, I always knew you guys were still alive, and wait, you're not British. Oh no, they're Danish.
De kommer! Hjælp os!
And now, the HMS Undaunted decides to head back home, leaving the overrun town of Vardo, which 100% won't be a problem in the near future. Meanwhile, things continue to escalate in Europe as another outbreak of the virus appears in Spain, near San Sebastian. Now, there isn't really an official explanation as to how the Blight managed to appear all the way in Spain, but it can be assumed that due to the horrific acts committed by the British and Portuguese forces onto the town, that it started an outbreak of its own. Whatever the cause was, a massive amount of undead zombies began rising from the dead and started attacking the British and French forces. The French stationed at a fortress holding British and Portuguese soldiers as prisoners are attacked in the middle of the night by infected zombies. Although the French are able to survive, they realize that they need to get out of the city or else they will be slaughtered. So the French decide to arm the British and Portuguese soldiers who they kept as captives not too long ago. Well, would you look at that, we are finally working together after years of war. Does this mean we are friends now? No, vous englemerd. The survivors make it down the hill into the city, and despite a few hiccups here and there, they are able to make it to a fortification with a lone survivor called Barry, who tells them to hold off the zombies while he raises the platform to get them down. However, just as he lifts up the platform, he gets brutally mauled, forcing another survivor to go up and lower the platform for the others while sacrificing himself. The others are picked up by none other than the HMS Undaunted. However, things go awry as one of the survivors infected with the Blight turns into a zombie and kills the captain. They are forced to land the ship and the British and French part ways. They are then found by Spanish guerrillas who help them sail out of Spain. Anyways, let's look at what's happening at the other side of Europe. Well, it looks like the Blight has spread far beyond Russia and is now in Germany, where the biggest battle is taking place when both the French and coalition forces encounter the Blight. Troops at Leipzig decide to stop fighting and start working together to fend off the hordes of undead cannibals. This causes the major leaders to learn about the existence of the Blight, and they're like, "Hey guys, so you know how this random virus has been kicking our ass?
Yeah,
They
I
smell
lost a
pretty
lot of
weird.
soldiers to them.
They killed
I
too
heard
many
they
of
need
my
to be
people.
exterminated.
I love
Aren't they
sucking
the
their toes.
undead?
Okay, so what if instead of killing each other, we kill these zombies first, and then we can go back to killing each other?" And just like that, fighting in the Napoleonic Wars ceases. Back in Leipzig, the soldiers make a plan to escape and trap the zombies within the city by blowing up the only bridge out of the city once everyone has escaped. Okay, did you set the explosives? Yeah? Good. Whatever you do, do not light the fuse until everyone is across the bridge. Didn't I just tell you not to light the fuse? Is that a problem? You see, this is exactly what I mean when I say that you are too immature. I am not. Yes, you are. Nuh-uh. You can't just do that. Nuh-uh. What? Yuh-huh. Nuh-uh. And so, most of the troops are able to make it out of the city, with only a few being blown up on the bridge. However, the Blight continues to spread. And that's all I'm able to do for now, as I will be busy with exams pretty soon. So sorry that I couldn't fit this all in one video, but I will most likely post a part 2 in about a month from now. Alright, peace.